episode is proudly sponsored by Champs Boxing Store and Limitless Power Boxing in association with the British and Irish Boxing Authority. Now let's get behind the bell. Right, hello and welcome to this week's episode of Behind the Bell. As by ever, we're joined by Matt. Hi Matt, how you doing this week?
How's it going, guys? You all right?
And as you can see this week, we're joined by, I wouldn't say a special guest, I say friends of the show now. It's Tough Love Boxing. It's Terry and Katie. Hi Terry and Katie, welcome back to Behind the Bell.
How you going, sweet?
How's everything going with you guys, all right?
Yeah, good. Yeah, things are going really good.
Yeah, Terry, when you was last on, you spoke a lot about what you do in the world of the amateurs, and you touched on Tough Love boxing, but I just want to go a bit more into depth this time round about what is Tough Love and what you aim and try to do with Tough Love boxing.
Yeah, like I said in the beginning, we sort of set it up in the first lockdown when we was on holiday, but we started moving towards, doing some school sessions and other places where you think people wouldn't get sessions. So like the centres for like adults with learning difficulties and stuff like that, which is quite nice.
Can I just say as well, I had an absolute privilege last week of coming down and seeing Terry in action. Oh my God. Honestly, what this man don't know about boxing and how to treat children, and it ain't worth knowing. It ain't worth knowing. Like, that man is second to none. I recommend if any child or person wants to get into boxing, amateurs or just a bit of boxercise, hit up this man. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's the nuts. I had an absolute whale of a time up there last week. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah,
it was so good.
Yeah, thank you. The kids loved it as well, man. They're still gassing out. They're still talking. It's quite funny. A couple of them, like, because they're sort of flexing in the photo. I think the photo's like getting shown around the school and that. Oh yeah, look, and all that. So yeah, they was. they're all hyped.
Listen, what I'll do next time is I'll bring some pads.
Yeah. Have a little go with them.
They can smash me up a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but what this man don't know about boxing ain't worth knowing. Honestly, as a trainer and as a person, I was very shocked to see how caring someone really is. I've been in gyms almost in my adult life, and a lot of gyms are about money. This man ain't about money. This man actually wants the best for their kids, and the welfare of the special needs, aka service users. He just wants the best for them. So just hit this man up if you want to get into it. Private training, he does it all. Get involved, guys, definitely.
And how do you find you had to adapt your training technique for the special needs young people? Because I worked for the last 20 years with special needs, so I know we had to adapt our sessions. So how have you found having to adapt boxing for them young people?
So for like for young people, like in schools and stuff, we sort of we have a sort of like set blueprint that we work on, and it works with all the schools. Same sort of thing. So we sort of change each week, and we sort of set them out on like a 10 to 12 week program. And then sort of at the end of it, I just always let them beat me up, if I'm honest with you. After sort of 10 weeks of sort of, trying to sort of discipline them slightly, the next thing you sort of, once you say, oh, you can beat me up at the end, they just constantly keep being good for you. So then at the end, they take all little shouts out at the end. So it worked that well. I mean, I think most of the time I just let myself get beat up. I just shell up. Just that way in, shell up. But yeah, I think sort of different people we have had to sort of adapt slightly.
Yeah, we used to do a wheelchair boxing class for wheelchair youths, which you actually had to adapt quite a bit to. You had to try out in a wheelchair how you would, we had a couple of clients that kind of would let him use the chair, see how he'd move in it, so we could adapt things for him, and
Well, and I'm all about footwork, so put me in a chair, I lose all my work.
I would like to have a go of it, to be fair. Like,
so hard because they strap your legs in as well.
Mm.
So you've literally, and then you've got to move. And do you know what? The maddest thing is like, there's no equipment for that situation. So their gloves, trying to use normal gloves with it is really hard because the thumbs, most gloves, thumbs attached, isn't it?
Mm.
So yeah, trying to move it, you can't really move it properly. It's sort of palm a little bit. So it's really hard.
It was a real learning curve, I think, as we was doing it, we was learning what they could adapt and how we could adapt. So yeah.
I bet it was because where I used to work, we had the Paralympic basketball team come down. So we had a game of basketball in wheelchairs, and that was like crazy tough. So I can't imagine boxing in a wheelchair either.
Some people that come down to us, they did the rugby.
Wheelchair
Rugby. And they were saying they just smash into each other. We wanted to make it bigger, but you know, it's very hard to find people that want to do wheelchair boxing because they don't think they can do it.
Yeah.
And one of the guys we was working with initially, he was trying to do boxing, but in a gym that didn't kind of cater for wheelchair users. And they were putting him in for sparring with able-bodied people, so people who could stand, and he'd have to spar with them in his chair, which it doesn't make any sense. So hence why we was going to try and do that. But obviously it's trying to get people to accept that they can do it. And if they want to try it, they can come and try it in a slightly more safe environment than you know, being up against an able-bodied person. So
yeah.
And what challenges have you found getting this into schools? Because I know the education sectors are hard to work with. So what challenge have you found getting boxing into schools?
We've been quite lucky. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. We've been quite lucky because we've known people in schools. So, you know, we've had a foot in door, so to speak, and then we've had to go in, sell it and make sure it works for them. And it's been successful. So because it's been successful, it just, you know, keeps propelling to the next level on each one. And sort of with the reviews we've got from the people that work at the school, it's good. Like it's a top review. We've had a couple of decent ones. So it's like, if people see that, they go, oh, right, okay. And we've always been open to contacting schools, any area, we don't mind. You know, we drive, we can, as long as their coaches are DBS checked and qualified, then they're good to go. You know, we stick our name to them, then we feel they're decent coaches. So
I think the main challenge that we've faced with schools is we've contacted as many as we can in the local area, but a lot of them don't seem to be that interested or don't know how it's going to work in a school. As Terry said, luckily the ones that we've been in, we've had contacts and that we've been able to actually discuss it with. So it's opening the conversation with schools who are obviously trying to safeguard the kids in what they would consider a fighting sport, to actually get it across that obviously it's not them going in and knocking each other out and stuff like that. So yeah, that's probably the biggest challenge, is actually getting them to listen to them.
it sounds mad, yeah, but I think if schools brought boxing back in and, you know, found out the kids that wanted to do boxing, it'd probably stop quite a bit of bullying within the school, if I'm honest with you, because you'll get some kids that you didn't like, because there's kids like that you put them up against each other, because not like to fight, but I do like the shoulder game, like, so just where you got to tap the shoulder. And there's kids that, some kids might have thought, well, he's not really about it, but he's just whipped them with the shoulder game. And the ones that thought they were all right got whooped. Do you know what I mean? And have to accept it. And then they're like, oh no, actually this kid's all right. And the next thing, 2 sessions later, they're standing next to him and they're all piled up. Right? So it changes the whole aspect of what they would have thought of him before.
It's a good, it's boxing, if it's used properly, is very disciplined. I was talking to someone today about it, funnily enough. I mean, I want to get my son into boxing for discipline. But listen, like, the kids can go either way with it. Do you know what I mean? Like, they can be disciplined. You can teach them discipline, or they can go, right, I know how to throw my hands now. I'm going to go knock someone out. And when with a good trainer and someone that knows their stuff, that rule that throws it out of the it throws the negative part out of the water. Like, and there's a lot of trainers out there that go, yeah, do this, they're like thinking that they're Charlie Big Potatoes. But yeah, like if people like yourself are doing it in schools, they could learn a lot off you. Do you know, off your self-tell? Do you know what I mean? Like they can learn on how to treat the kids and how to show the discipline, how to show the respect, and which obviously they've got, because every kid that you've, like I see last week, come up and fist bump me and said hello, didn't know me from Adam. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, it's about respect, isn't it? That's what the game breeds respect.
Yeah.
If it's done right.
Yeah.
This is, everyone can sort of have a certain level of respect for anyone that gets in the ring, but you've also got to have respect for the ones that are happy to stay there and continue and keep producing, and that's the main thing. Do you know what I mean? Because do you know what the craziest thing is you try and help me out with the schools, it will pump out more amateurs. Because if more schools can have it, then more kids will get used to boxing, and it's not always just football they're on. I mean, they offer computer club. Do you know what I mean? I've seen it.
Club.
Yeah, Lego club, computer club.
I've never heard about that. Lego club.
Yeah, Lego club.
I've seen it. Trust me, it's crazy. I mean, schools do provide a lot with other sports like netball, football, basketball, hockey, rugby, but there's no boxing. There's just no boxing. So that's what our main aim is, to try and get it in more schools. I mean, retirement homes as well. I don't think just because you're chilling out, in a retirement home that, you don't want a little bit. You think of them ones that have been in the war that used to do a bit of boxing in the army or whatever, they'd love to still bang. They'd love to throw hands. We did it with Katie's dad when we done the session for the Frank Bruno Foundation. I did it with Katie's dad. He loves putting on the gloves and throwing hands.
Yeah, at 83.
Yeah,
still
83.
Loves it.
Still loves it now.
Yeah.
He's I done a padathon for a local charity. I've done 105 rounds in one day on the pads, and I got my mum on the pads, and she always used to look at me like, how do you do that? And then I got her on the pads. She loved every minute of it. She absolutely smashed it. Boxing is for everyone. Like, not competitive, boxing. That's got to be in you. But boxercise, box fit, whatever you want to call it, that's for everyone. That's any ability. It don't matter.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's not just about the physical exercise. It's also about your mental well-being as well. It does so much more for, how you feel, and if you need to get stress out, or it does so many different things. Like you were talking about discipline and focus. We deal with a lot of kids with ADHD, kids with autism, and the results we've seen in focusing and getting them disciplined, keeping them focused on one thing, it just works.
What is the goal for Tough Love this year for 2023?
We want to have our set gym, like just a standard place set out, which we're hoping is coming soon. We'd like to be able to maybe sort of, get into a couple more schools, a couple more sort of places like for adults with learning difficulties and disabilities. And yeah, just try and get boxing out that little bit more to a couple more people that are not doing it that would enjoy it. It's the ones that you can't get to that you really want to. Like, it's all well and good starting with the kids and trying to, get them kids on it, but then there's some people that maybe did boxing when they was younger, they went the other way, got involved in other stuff, and now they're in places where maybe if they got that little bit of help when they was coming out, or a little bit of help while they was inside to give them that little bit of discipline, then it might switch their life around and it could be someone completely different when they come out. That's maybe my next big hope is maybe like getting into prison and just doing something in there. Not like start getting them fighting, that's stupid, but just getting them training together, padding, do you know what I mean? Just something, giving them something different. I know, you know, sometimes in prison, sounds a bit weird, but they don't use the old flip-flops as pads, but
yes,
I'd like to be able to give them like little proper padded sessions, you know what I mean? I'm always open to sort of getting it anywhere I can, and if it changes something or someone, that's your main aim.
You wasn't on last time. Shane was with us.
Yeah.
So we ask a question on every guest we have. So you're stuck on a desert island, and you're only allowed to take 3 professional boxers with you. Yeah, you could be dead or alive. Yeah. What 3 would you take?
Oh, see, I know what you said.
You're the one on the island, you're all right. Take it, run.
Thanks. See, I would probably say the things that I would expect him to say, because obviously my boxing knowledge has all come from Terry. So I'm going to say Joe Calzaghe. Yeah. You know what? I think I'd quite like to take one of the current women. So maybe Katie Taylor. Yeah, maybe Katie Taylor, just to see how it is from a female perspective. I'm struggling. Probably Frank Bruno, because he's I've met him once and I'd love to just pick his brain. Yeah, that's probably what I'd say.
Okay, so Calzaghe, Bruno and Taylor. Ain't a bad little show. That'd be a good little turnout.
That's not so bad, Dinner would be fun.
Yeah.
And Terry, one for you then. Behind the bell, I open up a boxing hall of fame of just boxing moments. You could be inside or outside the ring. What moment are you putting into the hall of fame?
Oh, I'll go for, do you know, because he don't get shouted about enough, or like people don't really talk about him, you never hear his name. Harry Greb done a year where he done 37 fights in 1 year, and I think he only lost like 3 of them, or drew 1, lost 2, just 1 season. 37 fights. Look at, I think he might have been 36, but yeah, he's pound for pound one of the greatest, but you never hear about it. But yeah, maybe that 1 season he done that, so he got shouted about a bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never heard of him, to be fair, Tel.
Yeah, look him up. Harry Greb, mate. He was a beast. Lighter weight, but absolute beast. I think he died young, so it's sort of like Marciano. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I'll look him up.
I got asked once, like, what would you change any outcome in boxing? And the only outcome I change in boxing is Gerald McKellen. That's the only one. He was like Tyson, but that shouldn't have happened to him. But you know, it's no one's fault. But that's the only outcome I've changed in boxing.
Yeah.
That one. Yeah.
One of my Hall of Fame moments. We done it last week. If you watched this week's episode, it was Michael Watson changing the boxing world.
Yeah.
It was a negative moment, but it had to be done. If that makes sense. To be honest, why we're here, and I know Lee's going to ridicule me about it, but it's only going to happen again with these misfits. As we know, Terry, I know we speak quite a bit.
Yeah.
You don't play boxing.
No, right.
And I'm afraid these guys are playing boxing.
Oh, I'll tell you what, one thing I'd like to ask you two, I know you probably didn't watch the Fury whole fight, did you, Matt?
I did, actually.
Oh, you did? Did you watch it, Len? Did you watch it, Lee?
Yeah.
Slip or knockdown?
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Like,
Well, it's a knockdown, mate, in my eyes. He got hit. He
got
went
caught.
down.
He got caught.
He didn't look like a slip, but yeah, I'm asking everyone slip or knockdown when I see him.
That's a tough one. I don't think his footing was there, but he definitely got caught on the way down.
Caught with a shot and he went down.
Yeah.
If that was anywhere else, that'd be counted as a knockdown.
I think his foot slipped out after he was hit.
Mm.
So he was knocked down, but then assumed it was a slip.
But do you know what? Like, that was such a banana skin fight for Tommy.
Yeah.
If he won, so what? People say, so what? He's Jake Paul.
Yeah.
If he lost, he'd be like, "You're done, mate. You lost to Jake Paul."
You're out.
He technically didn't win anything.
Other than a dog, and that was it.
Yeah,
but
and
fighting technically in it. So
and a pretty WBC belt as well.
But I think it was a banana skin for boxing. I think if Jake Paul had won, that would have been thing for boxing. This is what I was saying to Matt last week. Yeah, you've got to recognise like the misfits and the Jake Paul and Tommy Fury. It's just events. It's not boxing, but they're delivering. Boxing's not at the moment. We've had 2 fights cancelled this week. Fury Usyk still hasn't been signed this week, so the fans ain't got nothing to hold on to. These are coming up and they're being shown, so it's giving people events to watch, and that's the shame thing about it. Because I remember being a kid looking forward to the Lennox Lewis fights, or the Mike Tyson, or the Prince Nazim, and it seemed like there was one big one like that a month. We're waiting 2, 3, 4 months before we're seeing the next big fight. And it's a shame. And I think and that's where these KSIs and your Tommy Furies and Jake Pauls jumping in. They're providing monthly entertainment, which people are then getting confused as the boxing sport, which it ain't. You've got to recognise it's just events, and
you just don't want boxing to become too WWE, do you? Like,
no, but I think that's the way it's heading, because the sport itself's not delivering.
And it's giving a younger generation the idea that it's not as serious as what it should be.
Exactly.
So you don't play at boxing. It's not a game.
Well, I had that chat with your lot, didn't I? So,
yeah.
And I could see a couple of their eyes go, oh, okay. Like, it's not a game. And anyone that's watching this and seeing the Jake Pauls, the KSIs, yeah, they're training, but it's not boxing.
They're training for about last 3 years. Some of these kids that they're going to be calling out have been training their whole life. Like, as long as they can remember, do you know what I mean? But so the worst thing about that is someone one day will get badly hurt and then boxing will catch the blame for it.
Yeah.
Oh, boxing's a dangerous sport. Not, this kid just pumped loads of money into his career and, you know, learned over a year, like done a crash course in a driving test. Do you know what I mean? It's not, boxing's not a driving test. You can't do a crash course. You have to, you know, work at this hard. And,
well, you can do a crash course, but it's going to be a very painful one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It doesn't work out well for you at the end.
Well, that's the thing we were saying as well, like when I did the 8 weeks training for the Ultra White Collar event, as Matt said, we only trained you to survive. You didn't learn one boxing technique in that 8 weeks. You just learned to survive in the ring to get through that event.
Yeah, I mean, I'd advise anyone that is doing white collar to, as well as the training that you're getting with the white collar people, to just go and do an extra session somewhere with a trained coach once a week, or, you know, twice a week, just and run. Because then the good thing about that, it would make a lot of white collar boxing better, which would make the events bigger, which would mean it'd start getting more recognised, and maybe you could get one of them a month going that might help out the situation. But as long as it was watched and done properly and worked, but yeah, I think that's probably the route. You know, they go down and get extra bit of training and work their way out that way as well.
The thing is as well, the white collar scene, These guys can box.
I've seen some decent ones.
Like I went to one the weekend, and some of the boys on there, I was like, okay, like these boys are moving like pros.
Yeah.
Like, and this is what I mean. It don't matter. It don't matter what you think of boxing. These guys are good. These guys are good, and it's white collar. It's not even professional. It's not even amateur. Like, and these guys can box. Like, you need to train like a pro to beat them.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lifestyle at the end of the day. It's not a game. It's a business and a lifestyle, mate.
It's a tough lifestyle as well. Yeah.
What is it?
I mean, everyone thinks because they see all the boxing. Oh, I see, it's big money, big glamour, and all this. There's no big money or glamour in boxing. You do it because you love it, not because you earn out of it.
Do you know when you first become a prospect in the pro ranks? Guess how much money they get?
Oh, they're on pony money, mate. Like, some of them are lucky to make like
two to 500 quid.
Yeah, that's it.
200 to 500 quid.
Once they're sort of people, because they're what they see is the Andy Joshua monies that, oh, you got 10 grand for this fight after 3 fights, and oh, this fight, and oh, that fight, and it's because he was hyped up to sell the tickets. That's why he got that money.
Yeah.
If you've got average Joe Bloggs who works as a painter and decorator or a scaffolder or something in the week, and then on a Saturday jumps in a ring for a quick 200 quid to try and boost his career. That's why boxing sort of flops. It's like snooker, isn't it? It's like you see, like, you still got like Ronnie O'Sullivan, Mark Williams, John Higgins, all of them lot still up the top, because the young lot coming in, they don't care about the sport. They're not selling the tickets. They're not making the money. It's doing the same with the young ones. They just think they're going to get that big fight, and because they don't get that big fight, they just do something else.
Well, guys, well, thank you very much for coming back on.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Really enjoying it. Me and Terry are in contact. There might be some news coming soon, Terry, right?
Yeah, some nice news, mate.
Hey, if you want to hit Tough Love up, please check out the links below.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, definitely hit us up.
And we'll see you again soon.
I'll tell you what, anyone that within the Kent area that subscribes to your channel, will give you a 10% discount on if you come and do a one-to-one with us. So if they subscribe to you, they fancy a one-to-one, to let us know, and then we'll give them a little 10% discount on a one-to-one session just for.
Thank you very much, mate. Really appreciate it.
This week, remember, hit Tough Love up in the links, and subscribe to the channel, and have a good week, everyone. Speak to you later.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye-bye.
All right, cheers.